All right, we're recording. I love to forget to hit the record button when we just like start these sessions just chatting. But while people are coming in, I would also love you all to maybe introduce yourself and maybe even tell us a little bit about your business or where you're at in the quiz making process. So anybody who wants to share, feel free to go for it.
I can. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, tell us, Greg.
I have my main bulk of my business is like tutoring right now. I'm a former engineer, so I was pretty good at like math and science, so I do that. But I'm expanding into like online educational programs. So I made one for test anxiety, and I'm hoping to make more just like help kids in education. And
Very cool.
one quiz already, but I was hoping to see if I could improve it somehow. That's why I'm on the call.
Yeah, cool. We can for sure. So at the end of this session, I'll go through, like, well, obviously we'll talk about questions and whatnot, but we can pull up some quizzes if you all have them already and give feedback to each other. That's awesome. Greg, I'm just curious, who are you marketing to? Like, are you talking directly to the kids? Are you going through schools? Are you talking to their parents?
I think right now my direction is I'm trying to reach the parents since they're the ones with the money.
Okay. Okay, cool. And how old are these kids that you're tutoring?
The kids that I tutor are usually in high school, so like 14 to 18.
Cool. Cool, very cool. Anybody else want to share what it is that you do?
I'll go.
Yeah, tell us, Kendra.
So I am a business coach for mompreneurs. So I help women, moms who are starting a business to grow their business, figure out their marketing, social media, all those things.
Very cool. You are not alone. So there are other mompreneurs in the community. So I like to add that, and we'll talk about it today too. But when you, especially when you share your quiz for feedback, or if you have certain questions about your quiz or how to market it, it's really great to get that feedback from people who are in your niche, in your industry. Because I'll give you feedback, of course, but it's coming the overall perspective. So I love to know what you all do. And well, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. But when you log into the Quiz Collective, our community, I would highly encourage you to add things to your bio in your headline so that people know what it is that you do. Because I'll use the member directory to sort of tag you all in each other's comments so that you can get more of your ideal clients' feedbacks or like feedback from people who are in your industry.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Kendra. Anybody else want to tell us what it is that you do? Claire, I saw you posted in the chat. You can't go on camera at the moment, but you're a healthy weight coach. I kind of got that from the book we can see in your picture. So that's awesome. And same thing for you, Claire. There are a lot of other people in the community, nutritionists, fitness, wellness coaches. So I think you have a lot of, yeah, you're welcome. I think you have a lot of other people who are in your same industry as well that you can use as resources. Anybody else? Yeah, go for it, Erica.
Hi, so I'm a mindset coach and I help people to master their mind and emotions so that they can up-level their life and their business. The biggest segment of my customers is non-entrepreneurs. So, and I'm thinking of kind of pivoting into that more, serving that community more. So yeah, and I don't think my current quiz reflects, well, it does reflect a bit, you know, it kind of helps them to identify one of the mindset blocks that they may be having that is stopping them from progressing. But I looked at my analytics and that as well. So yeah.
How long has your quiz been out there?
At least for 3-4 months for sure, yeah.
Okay, and are you actively promoting it or is it just like set to your website?
Yeah, so it works as a pop-up on my website, and also whenever I go live, I kind of promote it, you know, for people to follow that, either via Facebook group or the Instagram.
You guys, I'm going to move because you are cutting out a little bit, and Dan said that in the beginning, so I have a feeling it's my Wi-Fi. So just 1 second, I'm going to move closer to the router. Anybody else want to share before we get started what it is that you do?
Sure, I'll share. This is Lakshmi. I have a product-based business. I run a subscription box for young kids age 3 to 6 to try a new sport every month. So they get like a baseball box and a soccer box, and along with the sport comes a curriculum of games they can play at home and activities around that sport.
That is very, very cool, Lakshmi.
Thanks. And
All
I
right.
have tried a quiz, but I think I struggled with traffic to the quiz. So I don't know if the issue is the quiz itself or how to get traffic to for people to actually take the quiz. And I'm hoping some of that will get covered as well.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So we'll talk more about that in week 5,
Okay.
where we talk about, so once your quiz is launched, how you can promote it. But again, so this is for anybody who already has a quiz out there or already in the works, you can use the Quiz Collective, the community group, to sort of get ahead if you aren't where like we are in our sessions live. So we can obviously talk through different questions and chat through that throughout the weeks, but we'll go deeper into that in week 5. But then use the launch and promote channel in the community to, like, if you're really wanting to promote your quiz now, you don't have to wait 5 weeks to do that. We can chat about it in the community. Cool. All right. I apologize for the weird angle. I'm like literally sitting on my router here. So let me share my screen, and you all should be able to see that 5 weeks of live quiz coaching. Cool. All right. So let's get into it. And I'll stop again for those who sort of just joined or joined as I was moving. I'll give you one more chance for anybody else who wants to introduce themselves. And then obviously everybody catching the replay, you can introduce yourselves in the Quiz Collective, or at the very least, I would definitely recommend you set up your bio and your headline so that people know who you are in the community, because there is a member directory where you can search different people, find your ideal clients, find people in your industry. So like I said, you can get feedback from people who really understand what it is that you're going after, trying to do, what your customer headspace is at. All right, so I am Jackie, and I'm here to make it as easy as possible for you to create and optimize a quiz that grows the heck out of your email list, all while delighting, engaging, and nurturing your new subscribers so that when you're ready to sell, they are ready to buy. And so, like I said, my name is Jackie, and I'm the quiz coach here at Interact. So I started with the company back in March. I was going to say of this year, but it's 2022 now. Back in March, and we started where I worked one-on-one with health and wellness coaches specifically on creating quizzes. And we found in doing that a lot of people, it just made more sense to do it in a group setting like this. So we've since evolved into these group coaching cohorts. And we did that because you all seem to have, like, no matter the industry that you're in, people struggle at the same points in a quiz, or they have the same questions. And so putting you on a group setting, creating a community around this, we found that people were able to use each other as resources, partner for different things within your businesses, and give even more feedback than just from me as the quiz coach or from Interact on different things that you can incorporate in your quiz, but also when you're sharing it after the fact. And so my experience or my background is really in content strategy. And so that's where we hone in on customer needs and use cases so that you're sending the right content to the right people at the right time. And a quiz really lets you do that because you're getting specific, you're figuring out who people are, where they're at in their journey, so that you can give them the right information that they're looking for. And all of that really helps to build your authority, your know, like, and trust factor, so that people, I guess your browsers, more readily turn into buyers. They're ready to really partner and work with you. All right, so that is me. Anybody else on the call want to chat or want to share who you are, what it is that you do, or maybe where you're at in the quiz making process? I know we did that already. I love to go out of order there. But anybody else want to share? And like I said, anybody watching the replay, you can do so in the Quiz Collective in that Say Hello channel.
I'll jump in if that's all right.
Yeah, for sure, Dan.
Cool. Oddly enough, I'm off camera today. I help entrepreneurs and startups learn to look and sound great on camera. And I'm about halfway through my first quiz build right now, and I'm excited about it because I've always been kind of like anti lead magnet in the sense of just trade something for someone's email address. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know a decent amount about someone before there's that trade, and then really hone in what I give them to where they're at instead of just some generic, kind of trade-off. So I'm excited about that.
Yep, love that. And I think that a quiz can really help you make a personal connection with somebody before you even get their email. So you've come to the right place, Dan. Anybody else? All right. So this is a quiz coaching course. So I'm going to give you all a pop quiz, and feel free to just shout out the answer or drop it in the chat. Does anybody know what makes a quiz so much more effective than pretty much every other lead magnet out there? They're fun and engaging. People enjoy taking them. You can position yourself as an authority in your field. They feel almost like having a conversation with a new friend. Dan, that's I think what you're after. You can use them to learn about your audience and segment your email list, or all of the above. I see the chat blowing up with the ease, all of the above. Yes, you're all correct. Absolutely. So I just want to note here that a quiz can do all of these things, but that does not mean that once you publish your quiz, everyone's suddenly finding your website or following you on social media or buying your offers. A quiz is really just one part of your sales funnel, and it works best when you use the information that you've learned about your lead in the quiz to follow up on the specifics that they want the most. So now that you know they're after this thing, or this is where they're at in their journey, this is the way that you would talk to them based on what you now know about them. And just an example of that, if you were in the store and you had an option to buy a custom tailored jacket or a one size fits all jacket, I think 9 times out of 10, or maybe even 10 times out of 10, you would choose the custom tailored jacket because you're really looking for something that fits and suits you, not just something that's out there for everybody. All right, so if you create a quiz to do all these things, you're collecting these email lists. So what are you going to do with that big email list full of qualified leads who now know, love, and trust you, or are on their way to knowing, loving, and trusting you? Does anybody have an existing email list and want to share the types of emails that you're currently sending out to them?
I'll share.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've had an email list since I started my coaching business. And so I send out weekly emails where I give some kind of resource or talk about something that's helpful to them. And then I also share about my podcast for that week. Whatever the episode is about, I give a little bit of like a teaser for that, and then direct them to go listen to the full episode.
Yeah, very cool. Anybody else?
Yeah, I do something similar. I also have weekly emails. I use a combination of thought reversal and storytelling. And I don't have a podcast, so I usually send them to my videos that I've done live in the previous weeks if they've missed it, or just share some music and something that is close to my heart.
Okay, I love it. And I see Dan kind of along the same lines popped in the chat. He curates valuable content into a weekly newsletter with no strategy at all, to be honest. And that's okay, Dan. I think staying in touch with your email list, keeping them engaged is sort of the point, right? And Kendra and Erica, I think you're doing that same thing. You're nurturing your customers, you're sort of moving them along the process of like where you want them to eventually be, or that transformation that you're going to help them achieve. You're teaching them, and then maybe eventually, or within your different emails, selling and monetizing off of your different offers. Claire popped in the chat as well. I email them regularly, mixture of different kinds of content. Cool. So imagine giving someone a quiz, you're getting their email, you now know these different things about them. You can really curate the content based on what they want because you have information about them or you know more about them. So you can send them a specific podcast episode that they would want to hear versus somebody else, a specific blog post that somebody should read versus somebody else, things like that. All right, so I want to chat about email marketing for a minute, because email marketing is definitely the best channel that you have to sell more of the amazing offerings that you have. I think a big question that we get in quiz coaching often is, can I sell from the results page of the quiz? So someone takes the quiz, they land on the result, can you sell right from there? And the answer really is, it depends. So we're going to talk about a sales funnel in just a second, but if you have like a higher ticket offer or something that really requires a lot of nurturing or explaining or building the person up to the point where they would want to buy this $1,000 plus, maybe even $100 plus course, then you probably don't want to sell right from the results page. You probably would want to sell within the email. And then again, you can use the specifics that you've learned from the quiz to talk very directly to that person on why it is that they want this offering. And then again, you just nurture them and they'll get to that point faster because you're giving them the information that you'd want to hear. That said, people do sell from the results pages. So I would just say that it's something that you could test out within your own businesses, within your own quizzes. But really, email marketing, I think, is the biggest asset that we all have to really sell more there. Okay, so a sales funnel, like I mentioned, is the journey that your potential customer is taking to eventually buy from you. And like I said, depending on your business, depending on your offering, this can look a lot of different ways. And so if you're selling, like I said, if you're selling to a cold audience, maybe it's like a higher ticket offer, this person knows nothing about you or what it is that you do, then you may have to build up or nurture them a little bit more. And actually, I think I'm on the wrong slide. No, I'm not. Sorry. So you really want to offer value and build them up before you're asking them to buy this thing. If you have an offering that sells really well to a cold audience, so somebody who's just finding you, maybe your ticket is low offer, or it just makes a lot of sense for someone to buy right away, they don't need a lot of nurturing, then maybe you can sell to them more quickly, or you don't have to have as many emails or as many communications with them in order to get them to that point where they're ready to buy. So that's like sort of the length of the funnel based on like how well your offering sells to a cold audience. So I would think about that, especially if you're wondering if you should sell from the results pages or if you're going to be including this into your email. Does anybody want to share what their existing sales funnel looks like? Sort of like what you're asking your members or customers to do, or how you're building them up, if that's through email marketing or something else? I see the chat. Claire has a variety of entry points. Okay, and that makes sense. I think that's very common, Claire. So if you have a funnel already, how can you add a quiz to it? And I think especially for lead generation, the easiest way to do this is to add the lead generating quiz to the front of your, like the first step of your funnel, or the first as the first entry point. And essentially what that does is it brings more customers into your funnel so that you can get them like all the way through. And again, if they're starting with the quiz, you have information, you're sort of building that connection with them before you give them information, so that you're building up your authority, providing the right value to the right person at the right time. And if you add the quiz to the front of your existing funnel, it'll really help you understand your big picture, because you're looking at your funnel as a whole and how the quiz can be added to that. But it's also saving you a ton of time, because you don't necessarily have to rewrite any content or reconfigure any email sequences that you've already created. I see in the chat, this is my introduction to an actual digital funnel. Okay, it's been all in real life. Perfect, Dan. Very good. And I think, Dan, to that point, like you're having a conversation with somebody in real life, and then you're suggesting the next step that they take. You're literally replacing that with the quiz. So this works for you, where the quiz is the first entry point. You're finding that information about them, and then you're giving them the right content based on the answers that they've had. So you're not physically talking to them, but it's all done through the quiz. And I just want to give an example here, because I'm sure a lot of you within your existing funnels have maybe resources or freebies that you're using already that warm up your leads. And there's probably very different reasons that that same resource speaks to different people. So as an example, at Interact, some people want to use our quiz tool for lead generation. Some people are using it to segment their existing list. Some people are using quizzes as a way to keep their existing list or their existing members engaged. And so if I I knew that you wanted a quiz for lead generation, I could send you, let's say I have one guide on how to create a quiz. If I knew that you wanted to create a quiz for lead generation, then I would speak to the benefits of that, giving you that guide. If I knew you wanted it for segmentation, then I could use that same guide, but just speak to the same reasons of, or sorry, different reasons of, this is why you would want to use a quiz to segment your audience. So in short there, use the quiz to segment your new or existing leads, and you just want to put that quiz right at the beginning of your existing funnel so that you can get people the right information and at the right time, again, based on where they're at in their journey, so that they're that much more likely to get through your funnel. Any questions on that or any questions on anything we've talked about so far? All right, I want to share one more option for those of you who are maybe just getting started and don't have an existing funnel yet, or maybe don't even have an offering yet. So no matter where you're at in your business, that you very likely have a call to action that you want your future customers to take. And that could just be following you on social media or maybe collecting their email address. So what I would suggest is you could start with a quiz that teaches you what you want to know about your audience so that you can start bringing the right value to your customers. So an example of that, you could ask where they like to get information from. So you would know which platforms you should sell your offerings or be posting your offerings on. Maybe that's in a community, maybe that's in social media, maybe that's via email or something. You could ask them how they like to receive information so that you would know what type of content to make. Do they want videos? Do they like reading something? Do they want to listen? So you need a podcast. Maybe they like to have an option of both. So that's a way that you can use a quiz to get started. And then that way you're sort of really getting started on the right foot because you're creating, without having content already, what you'll start creating are things that your audience is actually asking for. So that when you have it, you can simply reach out to them and be like, hey, you told me that you like to read. I made these blog posts. You told me that you like to listen. I created these podcasts for you. All right. So back to what we need, what we do with these emails once you've collected them. So back to email marketing here. I want to call out that the truth about email marketing is that you're not annoying people with your emails, even though you might feel that way when you get spam or lots of emails into your own inbox, right? But the truth is that people really do want to hear from you. And so we pulled some stats on that. 49% of consumers said they'd like to receive promotional emails from brands once a week, and that's just people who admit it, right? 73% of millennials prefer business communication via email, and the number of daily email users is expected to climb to over 4 billion by 2023. Here's my my fun little stat here. Does anybody know or want to guess how long the average American spends checking their email each day? In the chat, we got, oh, Claire says, that's helpful to know as we only take notice of the unsubscribes. Never mind, they are far in the minority.
1 hour, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm seeing 1.5 hours, an hour, 2 hours in the chat. The average American in 2019 spent 5 hours a day checking and looking at their email. Yes. 5 hours a day. And I mean, I'm kind of there with them because at least for work, right? My email is open. It's on my computer all day. So as I get new messages, like I'm getting alerts and seeing things all of the time. So it is very much worth it for business owners and marketers to grow their email lists because people are on emails. And I can't remember if we talk about this today, or maybe we'll talk about it a little further in coaching, but we talk about the importance of email marketing because if you're just sharing your offerings or connecting with people on social media, think about the other, what was it, a couple months ago when Facebook completely went down. If you're only on social media, you have no way of reaching those followers if something like that happened. If you're doing really well based on the algorithm, but then the algorithm changes on the platform that you're using, then you may lose a ton of exposure or a ton of clients that way. If a new platform came out or if someone chose to leave the platform that you're on, again, if you don't have their email, you lose contact to that person. Whereas if you had their email, no matter where they go, their email follows with them. So again, that's just the importance of really connecting through email so that you can really have the right conversation with people no matter where they're at. Also, I think the stat is when you post on social media, it's like 6 or 10% of your followers actually see that, because it really depends, right? Like where it's showing up in their feed. Is it a story? Is it a post? There's lots of different things to try. Whereas email, it's they go to their email when they want to look at it. So if you're in there, they'll see it. All right, so the ROI of, here it is, the ROI of email marketing is thousands of times higher than that of social media, YouTube, or Google ads. And then I have notes to go into all the things I just discussed about the number of people that actually see the post and then what happens when the algorithm changes and whatnot. So ROI of email marketing, $38 for every $1 spent. Almost 60% of people admit to emails affecting their purchasing decisions. And you can see up to a 760% increase in revenue when you get specific and segment your list. So again, sending the right person the right message at the right time. So when it comes to ROI, email is really king, and a quiz is going to help you send the right message at the right time to the right people when you use it to learn about your audience and segment your list. So any questions on how email marketing pairs with your quiz? And I will add too, especially for those of you who maybe have quizzes out there already and you're looking to optimize them, within the Quiz Collective, within the community, we have a copywriting support channel. So Interact's in-house copywriter, her name is Dawn Petrin, moderates that channel. And if you want to share with her the emails that you're sending out after your quiz, you can do that in the channel and she'll give you feedback on it or ideas. She also created and we'll talk about this more in week 5, but she created I have so much trouble saying this, a 3 email post quiz sequence. So you can use that template to literally just pop in your own information and then attach it to your email marketing system so that the leads based on the result that they're getting are getting these emails. Dan says, Dawn is going to be a key for me for sure. That's his #1 concern, sequencing. Perfect. Yeah, she is there for it. And she gives feedback on all things copy. So if you have sales pages, landing pages, your website that you want feedback on, Dawn can give you feedback on all of that copy, not just email sequences. All right, so sounds good, right? So over the next 5 weeks, we're going to work together to create the best possible quiz for your business, one that really is positioning you as an authority in your industry, that's nurturing your audience, and that's really making people take notice of the amazing value that you provide them. So you can grow the heck out of your email list, or I should say, well, you grow the heck out of your email list. So here's how we'll turn your email list into an empathy-fueled money-making machine. But first, I want you all to come back to your big, scary business goals. So now that you've thought about your existing business and funnel, or maybe your future funnel, let's talk about your goals. It's really good to kind of start with the end in mind and get really clear on what your goals are so that as you evolve your business and your funnel and your quiz, you really stay on track so that these things do the things that you want them to do. So like I said, you want to start with the end in mind. So ask yourself, why did you start your business? What is it that you really want? And don't be afraid to think really big here either. And feel free to share your goals if anybody's wanting to share. We've heard before, like looking for consistent months, like in terms of revenue, growing audience, inspiring people to grow and transform with the offerings that you provide. Whatever that is, really ask yourself if your current funnel is helping you achieve that. And if it's not, reevaluate where people are falling off or where are people stopping in the process, or what's blocking them to get to the next step. And you can use quizzes, ask questions to teach you more about your audience and keep your customer engaged so that you can get them past that hurdle and all the way through the funnel. So as we do this over the next 5 weeks, step 1 is to realize that your quiz and your business are going to evolve over time. And I think this is so important because people really often strive for perfection and they want so much with this quiz. They want to have all the this long email sequence ready to go when you promote or when you publish the quiz. And so that will happen. And then a lot of times people will get burnt out and they'll stop. So we like to have, Josh, our CEO, has the saying, done is better than perfect. Have that mindset, because I want you all to remember that you can add the quiz to your existing funnel. You can use it to start a funnel to save yourself some time, and you can really optimize and make changes to your quiz once it's launched. So we'll all give you feedback within the community, but really getting feedback from your audience is key. So get your quiz out there. I mean, we're going to create it first, but once you get your quiz out there, you really want to promote it, get people in to take it, because that, looking at those analytics, seeing what people do, where people might be falling off within the quiz or within the funnel, will allow you to make the right changes to the quiz so that you can really get it to be the perfect thing. That's not going to happen on quiz version 1, probably, right? Instagram didn't launch how it looks today. It started much differently and it's evolved over time. So I really want you all to have that done is better than perfect mindset. Get the quiz out there. Let's see how it performs, and we can always come back to optimize it. Another thing I'll add here too, actually, within the Interact Builder, you can make as many quizzes as you want. You can also have a quiz version, duplicate it, and maybe make like one change. So you can test different things out to see what works better or what resonates more with your audience. All right, step two. Step 2 is to carve out some time in your schedule. So we completely acknowledge that a quiz can be a bit more work than your average lead magnet freebie, but that's because it works so much better. So a lot of times freebies or these PDF resources go unopened or aren't downloaded, but with a quiz, people are really interacting with you. They're wowed by your brand and even by you before they even give you their email address, again, because they're getting sort of personalized information or results or resources or communications from you based on what you've learned about them from the quiz. So we have these sessions together. If you can make them live, awesome. If you can't make them live, you will get replays after. I'll send them out after the session each day, each week. So you'll get the replays, and you can always stay in touch in the quiz collective as you sort of do the homework or the action steps that I'm going to give you after each week, or if different questions come up when we're not, if you can't attend the calls live, or if it's just we don't have a call that day or something. So I would say it's ideal to carve out between a half an hour to an hour a week on top of these sessions so that you can make this all happen. You can complete the homework or the action steps I'm going to give you, really stay on track so that by the end of the 5 weeks, your quiz is ready to go. Louise is asking, where do you find the quiz collective? Louise, I will drop a link to the an invite link to the quiz collective into the chat here, but also in the replay email I'm going to be sending out, I will have it linked in there so that you can get in. It's super easy. You're just going to click the link, add your email and your name. The only thing I ask you all is to sign up with the same email you're using with your Interact account, because that will ensure you have access to all of the features. So I will, I'll grab that link and share it in the chat in just a little bit. But also, like I said, it'll come in the replay email that we send out. All right, just a little inspiration for you all. So Lindy Cohen was one of the first health and wellness entrepreneurs that I worked with when I first started. And these are some of the results that she saw from her quiz. So about 2,000 leads in less than 4 weeks, over $6,000 in course sales in just 1 month. And all of this was done without any ad spend. So I'm really gonna help you. I'm gonna do my best to help you get results like this. I will caveat this by saying Lindy has a social media following of, I believe, 100,000. And so she dropped her quiz into her social media account, converted people into email subscribers, and then again used the quiz to really give the right program or offering that she had based on what she learned about them from the quiz. And that got this conversion in her course sales. So just by giving them the information that they needed about the course or the offering that she was suggesting they take, she got them to convert really quickly, because she sort of, I guess her leads were definitely warmer because they mostly came from their social media, but by converting them through this quiz, giving them the specific information, she was able to get them to buy into her offerings. All right, and step 3 is simply just to commit. So like I said, we have these 5 weeks together. You should all have gotten a link to add the sessions to your calendar. If you need that, just let me know. But these sessions are really a chance for you to get answers to any of the quiz questions that you might have. so that you can build the best possible quiz for your business, again, and optimize it over time. So even if it's not version 1, as you continue to grow the quiz or make changes to it, we'll be here in the Quiz Collective. You can always sign up for another coaching session so that you can really optimize and evolve the quiz. So the first decision that you're all going to have to make when you create a quiz is if you want to start from scratch or if you want to use one of the templates that we have. And I think both options work. It just really depends on maybe the time that you want to devote to this, where you're at in your business, and what you're kind of looking for within the quiz. So even if you do have a quiz that's already done, or maybe you have a quiz topic that's already fleshed out, I would highly encourage you all to check out the templates because they really showcase the different types of quizzes that you can make, and they show you how to provide value on the results page. So you'll see when you log into the builder, and this is maybe a bad screenshot, looks very zoomed in, but when you log into the builder, right over here, you're going to have this dropdown of your quiz types. So you can choose personality, scored, and assessment quizzes, and I'll get into what each of those are. But these are the templates that I would recommend checking out because all of these have been written by Chanti Zak's team. So Chanti, if anybody doesn't know her, is Interact's chief evangelist. And so Josh, our CEO, was looking around to see, like checking out, I guess, the highest performing quizzes, and he found that all of those quizzes were written by Chanti. So he brought in her team to write these templates for us, and we're still writing hundreds and hundreds more. We want something. I had talked to Josh at the end of last year, and he was saying we want like a template for every single use case that somebody might want a quiz for, so that you could super easily just grab this and use it. It's ready to go. We're not there yet, but we're still writing templates. So if anybody's looking for something that we don't have, let me know what that is, and I'll see if we can get that quiz template written for you. Anyways, if you go in and look at these different templates, looking at the results pages, those are all really written for conversion and to build you up as an authority and really provide value. So like I said, if anybody already has a quiz done or maybe in the works, I would still recommend checking out these templates within the builder so you can kind of see how we would suggest writing a results page to really build your authority and provide value. If you're not signed into your Interact account and you're on our website, there are other templates there. I believe those came from free users who have used the platform before. So those are templates that you can also use, but they're not optimized for conversion. So you'll see that, especially on the results pages, those look much different than what these look like here within the builder. And then just 2 more notes on the templates. You can change everything on a template, or you can change nothing on a template and use it exactly as is. It's totally up to you. If you are just getting started with quizzes, I would suggest looking through the templates, seeing if there's something in there that makes sense for your audience. Even if you tweak it and like make it, I recently did a quiz that was, I used a template that was on essential oils, but the quiz was for succulent plants. So the template was close enough. Obviously, essential oils and succulents are very different. So I just was able to like finesse it a little bit so that it matched what needed to happen. So look through those templates, see if there's something that you can learn from and then optimize into your own. Or if you're just getting started and you want to put something out there, see if there's a template that you can use as is that will work. The other thing that I want to call out about templates is on the results pages, there's a bio. And so those people in there are just personas that we've made up for the sake of these templates. They're not real people. So another question that we get asked a lot is like, oh, is so-and-so going to mind if I'm using their quiz? It's not a real person. Nobody's actually using that quiz unless someone else is using the template. So if you are going to use a template as is, if anything else, just make sure you're changing out the bio so that it has your own information in there. All right, and then just a reminder, no one's ever taken me up on this offer, but we're still writing all of these templates. So if you want a template written for you, let us know what it is. Let me know what it is, and I can see if I can get that created for you. I will also, yes, Justina, I will also drop the calendar link in the chat so that you can add all of the coaching sessions to your calendar. Claire, I see you say, oh, yes, please. Is there a certain template that you're looking for? And Kendra, you can just tell me your template ideas right now if you have them, or you can share them in the Quiz Collective, email me, whatever works best for you. But let's pause for a second. Does anybody have a request for a template or want to see something in the builder? Or do you need some time to think about it?
I have some ideas, but I think I'm going to kind of think them through and I'll send them to you.
Okay. And then Claire, I see you say, I want people to be able to self-select the right service of mine. So I just need to know a little bit more about what service that you offer. Like, is it an e-commerce sort of like physical product or? And then Gabby, I see you're asking for what's your self-care style. I would highly encourage you to check out the templates because there are some in there about wellness and self-care already that you might be able to use. Okay, so Claire says one-on-one coaching club, self-help resources, hypnotherapy. Claire, if you could send me an email about that so I can follow up, because I think I need a little bit more information on that before we could get a template started. But I think you're in the same place as a lot of other people because people have all these different types of offerings. And so I wonder if we could create something that's maybe generic to different industries, or if we'd have to create something that does that for different industries. And Dan says, I feel like I'm building my template right now. I used a template close to my vibe and changed out the content. That's perfect, Dan. That's where I would recommend, especially those of you just getting started. That's what I would suggest that you do. Find a template that fits your vibe or your style or like what it is that you're trying to get across, and then finesse it or change out the content so that it matches your brand, your voice, your style, your offerings, all of that. Cool. All right, so yeah, like I said, and those of you who requested already, just shoot me an email. You'll get, if you don't have my email already, you'll get it when I send out this replay. Just hit reply, tell me which templates you want to see. For anybody watching the replay, tell me what templates you want to see, and I will pass them on to Team Chanti to see what we can get written for you. All right, so I mentioned there's 3 different types of quizzes. You have the personality, the scored, or the assessment. So this is the next thing that you're going to have to decide when you go to create your quiz. And really the difference between the 3 types of quizzes are the way that your results are getting calculated, or I guess rather the way the results are getting calculated, so it like the system knows which result to give the person. All right, so a personality quiz has multiple choice answers, and each answer correlates to one of the results. So the quiz taker is going to get the result that correlated with the answers they selected the most. So I think with these personality quizzes or examples of personality quizzes are like, what kind of marketer are you? Or what's your home decor style? What's your blank archetype kind of thing? This is a screenshot from one of our templates. What kind of coffee suits your personality? So at the end of the quiz, you get this result of your delectable dark roast. And in a personality quiz, you're typically telling the quiz taker something about themselves. So they're learning something about themselves by taking this style of quiz. Kendra, no worries. We'll talk to you soon. All right, so then a scored quiz, you're assigning points to each answer, and then the quiz taker is getting the result based on the number of points that they've acquired within the quiz. And so this is a screenshot from the template. Do you have what it takes to make your blog blast off? And you can see right at the top, it's telling you what you physically scored, like the number of points that you've gotten, and then it's giving you the result here. And so a scored quiz typically measures how much somebody knows about something or about a specific topic. Dan says in the chat, this was an eye-opener for me. The personality quiz made me think so differently about my potential clients, essentially where someone is in their video content creation journey, so I can meet them where they are. Exactly. Yep. And then again, that just goes right back into giving the right person the right message at the right time, because depending on if they're just getting started with video or they have all the equipment already, those are 2 very different conversations. And so you know where to pick up the conversation based on where they're at by using the style quiz. Love it. All right, and then third, we have the assessment quiz. And so an assessment quiz works just like a scored quiz where you're assigning points to each of the answers. But in an assessment quiz, you're giving people the right answer right away as they take the quiz. So this is a screenshot from the template, what's your clear skin IQ? And you can see after I selected this answer, how many skin cells do you shed per hour? It pops up with the right message. So the screen check is saying, yep, you got it correct. And then it gives me a little bit more information about why that answer is true or why that answer is right. And so this style quiz typically works best when you're wanting to teach somebody something. All right, so if you want to get the quiz taker experience, which I would 100% suggest that you all do, so you can see like what it is that you're asking your customers to do, you can take a few of the template quizzes or the quizzes that we have on the templates in the builder, or I'm gonna share this link in the replay email. So this is a quiz that Chanti Zak, who I mentioned earlier, she's the one who writes our templates, that she created on what type of quiz should you create for your online business. And so in this quiz, Shanti's talking about 3 other types of quizzes. She has a launch quiz, a signature quiz, and an e-commerce quiz, and it's more related to where you're at in your business. All 3 of those style quizzes can be built using the personality scored or assessment types within Interact. So also, like I said, I'll send this link out if anybody wants to take it. It's also might be a great opportunity for you to get onto her email list so you can see what types of emails she's sending after you take a quiz. Again, just giving you like a full experience of what it is that you're going to be asking your customers to do. So as you do that, just let me know if you have any questions as you take her quiz. All right, so now I want to stop and open the floor up for any questions, comments. We can go through anyone's quiz who already has been created and give feedback and talk about it. But I really want to just chat about anything that you all need. So questions, if anybody wants to share their quiz, go for it. And I'm going to stop sharing. And if anybody wants to ask anything, go for it. But as we do this, I'm going to get those links for you and drop them in the chat.
Maybe I'll share my quiz.
Yeah, for sure. Feel free to share your screen and we can click through it together. And this link in the chat here is for anybody who needs to sign up for the Quiz Collective, our community.
So I'll just share the link.
Okay, yeah, that's fine too, Erica. And then I'm just gonna grab the link that gives you the calendar invite so you can add all of these coaching sessions to your calendar.
Just trying to figure out how do I
if you are, do you have the quiz link or are you trying to, is that what you're trying to find?
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, cool. All right, and then this is January 5th coaching. Sorry guys, I'm terrible at like trying to find something on the web and typing and talking at the same time. So, all right, got it. Here is okay, and then there's the link to add the coaching sessions to your calendar. I just dropped there in the chat. Okay, so Erica, I'm opening your quiz and then let me share my screen and we can all look at this together.
So just dive in, you know, get a judge.
Say again. We'll be really, really nice. I promise. Really nice. So tell us again, who is it that you're trying to get into this quiz and what do you ultimately want them to do once they've completed it?
So the purpose of this quiz was to help holistic entrepreneurs or like coaches, healers, and etc. Helping them to identify what is their one mindset block, the most dominant one that is preventing them from earning money doing what they love. So at the end of it, I I can't remember which one it was, either assessment or score. No, not assessment, probably a score or personality one. And at the end of it, they get the results, and then there's a call to action that so if they sign up, if they put their email and sign up to the email list, they get like a blueprint, you know, of winning mindset blueprint. Yeah, that's how it's called.
Okay, and that comes in the email after they've taken the quiz, or
Yeah.
that's on the results page? Okay, perfect.
So yeah, because there's two options. You see, they can opt out from the email list, you know, so they can just get the results and be done with it. Or if they choose to go into the email list, then they get the winning mindset blueprint. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's awesome because it entices people to leave their email. First of all, you're giving them an option of leaving their email versus not, which I think is good. Let me back up for anyone who doesn't know. So when someone takes the quiz, you're going to get after you've answered the questions, there's an opt-in form that asks you like, hey, add your email to see your results. You can make that required, or you can make it optional, meaning if it's required, they have to put their email in order to see their results. If it's optional, they can skip that step, meaning they don't add their email, but they still get to see their results. That is a very hot topic, or a debate, I should say, in the community of should you require it, should you make it optional? It's something that you could test out. Some people think, I think the arguments from each side are if you make it like you've invested this time to create this quiz, this value for them, so you should get an email in the end. Whereas people who make it optional are, well, if you're not the right fit, or if you just took this quiz to get a result, maybe I don't necessarily want to, maybe you're not a right fit, or if you're not interested in working with me, you don't need to be on my email list because I really want to work with people who are super engaged, right? So by making it optional, Erica, I think you're getting people on your list who want to be there, who are engaged, and by offering that blueprint in email, not on the results page, you're getting them excited to get the email from you. So they're adding their email, but they're also, after the results, probably going to look for that email. So that's sort of like training them to open emails from Erica as they come in. So awesome. All right, so let's go through this. So discover what is stopping you from earning money doing what you love. There are 3 main mindset blockers that prevent 90% of holistic entrepreneurs from earning money doing what they love. Cool. So are you wanting holistic entrepreneurs to take this quiz?
This kind of sounds like a trick question. I do, yeah.
It's not, I promise. It's not, I'm not trying to trick you.
Yeah. Well, I was really targeting holistic entrepreneurs, the ones that have really went into the people helping business. Whether that describes them, you know, that's another question.
Okay.
But at that moment in time, I thought this was the best name I could put in there.
Okay. And so that's great. Like the quiz is out there, and maybe you're going to find out that there's another term that people call themselves, or once they're on your list, you can ask them what they do or how do they refer to themselves. The reason I asked you is because by calling out your ideal client on the cover of your quiz, you're attracting the right people. You're calling in the people that you want to take the quiz, that this quiz is really designed for. So I might change, I might move this holistic entrepreneurs up to the title so that people are like, oh, if I'm not a holistic entrepreneur, maybe this quiz isn't for me. Whereas if I am, I'm clicking into this to take it to see what's blocking me. How could you do that? So discover what is stopping you from earning money doing what you love. So you could change it to something like discover what is stopping you from earning more money as a holistic entrepreneur, or something like that. And then in this description, you want to give, I think this is great because it's like shortened to the point, and I would suggest this for everybody with the description. You want to call in like, what is this quiz going to teach you? Or what's the point of taking this quiz? What are you going to learn? And so here, I think you could probably, especially if you move holistic entrepreneur up to the title, Erica, I think you could say something like, take this free 5-minute quiz to identify your mindset blocker. Yeah, there are 3 main mindset blockers that prevent 90%. I think you could leave this, I don't know, what does everybody think? Does this read easily to everybody? Or I think you could probably combine this into one sentence, just so it's like super clear that you're taking this quiz to find out what your mindset blocker is, so that you can make the money that you want to make. And that's actually a good point too, and we'll talk about this more next week. Calling out the ideal state or the transformation that people are going to achieve in the description is really helpful, because again, people are taking this quiz for a reason. If they're wanting to achieve this and the quiz is saying, I'm gonna help you do that, they're gonna wanna take the quiz. So really calling out the ideal state, which in this case is earning more money doing what you love, is perfect. All right. Anybody else that you're like, anything that you're noticing or want to share on Erica's quiz here? Justina in the chat says, I lead with the problem they want to overcome rather than the solution to it. Example, earn money doing what you love by overcoming the top mindset blockers. Cool. All right, so let's take the quiz. So what stage of, okay, I'm gonna start with this. I'm one of those people that if there's like a lot of text on the screen, it's so hard for me to stay focused and read. I usually just exit out. I'm a terrible reader. So this to me is a lot of text where if I'm like just scrolling online and I find this quiz and I click in and take it, I'm like, this sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to do this anymore. I might leave the quiz. So you could maybe like, let's read this first, but maybe you could shorten these, or maybe you could play around with using images here just to like break up the fact that this is all text on one page. So, all right, what stage of your entrepreneurial journey are you at? The other thing I would say about this is a great question. This is something that you probably, absolutely, almost everybody I think should probably know about their people, kind of like where they're at in their journey, in their life, however it relates to your, like what you're offering or what you're going to do with them. I would suggest, like, I guess I would ask yourself, do the people taking this quiz, do they talk like this? Are they concerned about where they're at on their entrepreneurial journey? I think for you, Erica, because you're talking to holistic entrepreneurs, they probably do. We just looked at a quiz yesterday that was like very jargony in terms of marketing for people who are just getting started. And so you really want to use the language that your people use so that it's super clear, it makes sense on what it is that they're trying to achieve here. All right, so I don't know yet who I am serving, how I can help them. I'm not yet earning money for my business. I somewhat know who I am serving. Yeah, so this works. I think I would work on shortening these because it's basically like beginning, middle, end kind of. And so I don't know if you would want to frame this in like in terms of number of years they've been in business, or like milestones they've achieved in their business so you know where they're at. But I think this question is great. I would be curious, because you've had this out, have you looked at analytics to see how people are responding to this? Do you know the drop off that you're getting?
So what exactly do you mean by that?
So so you have to be on the growth plan of Interact in order to see your question and answer analytics. But within the builder, you can look at them to see the drop off. So if someone started your quiz, you can see which answer they've selected, like how many people chose each answer, and also how many people left the quiz.
Okay, no, I don't know that.
Okay, so that's something that you could look into. And if people aren't leaving, then maybe you just leave this as is and ignore me, because I'm just like that one person who doesn't love to read.
No, it's just good. Yeah. Because I remember when I began structuring it, I was putting years, but then from experience, I know that the person can be in business for 3 years and just not be earning money at all.
Yeah.
So that was not kind of definition for me, rather than where were they at in terms of earning money. Because I believe once you begin earning money, you already have learned a lot and pushed through a lot of the mindset blocks. And if you're still wavering, you know, then there's a lot of work to do before that.
Yeah. So I think that you could shorten these by making them a little bit more vague, because some of these feel really specific and you don't necessarily know who's coming in to take the quiz. So if you keep them a little bit more vague, then there's an option that anybody would be able to choose easily. Whereas if it's something where it's like, let's just say I relate to the I'm not earning money yet, but I don't get overwhelmed on all this, like starting over and the to-dos, then maybe I'm like, nah, none of these really feel like me. I might leave the quiz. So I think making these a little bit more vague might help people resonate with them. But again, because your quiz has been out there, this is something you can look at the analytics and see, is it really making a difference or not? All right, fill in the blanks. Transforming my number one mindset block would help me. It has to be perfect. Thought I would find it easier to ask.
There's a lot of text.
Yes, don't worry. I'm sort of like that person, you know, like I just don't love to read. But I think just simply by adding like an image, a question image could help do that, like help just break up the, like there would be an image right here in between the question and the answers, just to help break up the text. Because maybe it wouldn't feel like so much if it was separated. Cool. And so do each of the questions that you ask, I'm just being curious, do each of the questions that you ask correlate to the result that they're going to get?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And I think this speaks to sort of like, this does a little bit of customer research for you, because you're finding out where people are like what they're wanting to achieve. And so again, by speaking to that, they're like, oh, I want to work with Erica because that's what I'm going after. That's what I want. All right, which of these statements, oh, see, love the picture here. Which of these statements would you feel applies to you? Yep, I like it. Okay, yep, I like this too. So do you want people to be able to choose multiple answers here or just one?
I don't know.
So for me, I mean, I feel like there's like one. Okay, either way, you can decide. If you only want people to choose one answer, I would turn off the select multiple, what is it called? Like multiple answers or something in the builder. Or if you want people to choose up to 3, I would just add to the question, choose all that apply, so that people know, okay, I can choose more than one thing here. All right. So what's stopping you from making that a reality? Cool. So again, great customer research of like where people are getting stuck so that you can find the right offering to give them to get them unstuck. And then I really like this. This is a great way to sort of like get people to just like, especially if you have a harder question to ask, adding it, using it as the last question and saying last question is a great way to get people to answer it, or like finish up the quiz because they're like, okay, I'm almost there. Like I just have to answer this one more thing and then I'm going to finally see the result. So I like that. And you can also use, we'll talk about this in week 3 when we do questions. You can also use like, I can't go back, but like, great, next question, and like ask the next question so that you're sort of having a conversation with people as they click through the different questions. So how ready are you to take 100% responsibility for removing the block that prevents you from earning money doing what you love? So this answer, 100% ready, and this, yes, I finally want to get clarity, feel really similar to me. Like, what is the difference between these two? Or like, what would, like, I think you need a no option. I think I would change this one to like, I'm not really ready because of other things or something. And that's a good point, because like we talked about the required and the optional opt-in, having the people that you want to work with on your email list. It's okay to ask people to, or to invite people to unsubscribe, or it's okay if you find out from the quiz that this person isn't really like the right person that I want to work with. That just lets you know this person isn't ready for me, so I'm not going to invest my time here on trying to convert them. right? Focus on the people that are 100% ready, or maybe they're somewhat ready, and get them to the point where they're using your offerings. But if someone were taking this quiz and they weren't ready, there isn't an option here for them. So they might leave the quiz and you kind of miss out on that email. So I think these two just feel really similar to me. So I think I would change this one here, yes, to a no, I'm not ready yet. And maybe that does a little customer research for you too, of like why people aren't ready. Or maybe you'll find like a bunch of people aren't ready, and then you maybe have to go into creating an offering or creating some type of value for those guys on how do you get ready to do these things. Cool. So this is what I was talking about for everybody with the skip this step. This is, so Erica made it optional to submit my email. I'm just going to skip this because I don't want to skew up your results there. And your number one mindset block is perfectionism. So it looks like, I'm just scrolling through this. It looks like you used you've referenced the templates that we have in the builder, because I think the results page is set up really nice, where you start out with some really positive information of like who they are and what they're doing really great. And that's definitely what we would suggest. You want to kind of like boost their ego a little bit. So then I might add a little bit more here so that you can like stay a little bit more positive, keep them excited about like what's going really great. And then here you're sort of transitioning into maybe you're feeling some of these ways. And another little trick here of like keeping things vague so that they really resonate with anybody who might be taking the quiz is just using the word maybe. So having fear of failure as a mindset block leads you to maybe experience some of these symptoms or something, because maybe I'll read this and be like, oh, I don't feel like that way at all. But if you just have maybe in there, it's like, oh, okay, maybe I would feel like that, but I'm not right now, kind of thing. So it really resonates with me. Sorry, guys, I'm a slow reader. So here's where you'll see, we'll talk about this next week, but in the results pages, the next thing, or the next sort of section is providing value. So I wonder if you could rephrase some of these things into sort of like quick wins or like easy actions, like not resources that you have, but just like advice that you can give them, sort of like don't give anything away for free, but just simple advice that you can give them on how to sort of overcome these symptoms, because that's going to get them to be like, oh, I need to work with Erica, because especially if they're like, yes, I feel like this. Yes, I feel like this. Yes, I feel like this. Then if you give me value and information on how do I overcome that, I'm going to be like, well, I need more from Erica, because that's exactly what I needed to hear right now. So I think rather than elaborating a little bit more on the problem here, I would maybe even combine this and this here, but really like give them actionable takeaways that they can do. Now, when I say don't give everything away for free, this could be something as simple as stop and take a deep breath, right? Like, or maybe even a breathing exercise, because that helps people. That could help anybody like reduce the amount of overwhelm that they're feeling. And it's like a super easy thing that I can do right now. I don't have to go download anything. I'm just literally sitting here taking a deep breath, which can help.
So question to you.
Yeah.
Can I add a video into this page? Because I don't remember if I can.
So we have the functionality where you can add a video right here in the image. And it will embed directly. So it'll play right on this page from Vimeo or YouTube. If you wanted to add the video like throughout the page, you could link it. So you could say like, check this video out for breathing techniques, let's just say, and then that would link to the video where you have it, but it would take me off of this page.
Okay.
All right. Love the bio, love the photo. And I have been asked before too, like, do I have my picture in there? I would, because it's creating authority for yourself. People are getting to know who you are. You're a real person. It's building connections, establishing a relationship with them. So I love this. I'm not going to read this all right now, because like I said, I'm a slow reader, but as long as you're relating this, like your story, back to them and how you can help them, that's perfect. I love the use of emojis, because that gives my eyes like through the text there. I also like how you have the different size fonts. So there's sort of like headers breaking up the different sections. I like this because you're sort of like making it so obvious that I need to take this 30-minute call, because why would I want to keep feeling this way? I think you just need one more thing that's like, what if I don't book the call? What happens next, right? Like, what if I didn't opt into your email and I don't book the call? Is there anything that could happen next? And it's okay if there's not, right? But okay, see, look, you did it, and I just didn't read. Check out your inbox because you're going to get my entire winning mindset blueprint. So like, I would make that, I think I would condense this paragraph and just make it like an easier thing to realize that you're going to be sending me this, and then I need to go look for it.
Mhm.
Cool. If you drop this in, if you drop your quiz link in the quiz collective and the quiz feedback channel, you can get more feedback from the members on it. And then also we can go through, when I say we, I mean like me and John specifically, we can go through the copy of this results page so that we can get like even more granular or specific on feedback on that. But I think this is a great start. The one thing I want to add here is this picture feels very depressing and a little bit scary to me. So I would suggest, and this is for everybody, I would suggest putting a picture in here of like, what do I look like in the ideal state? So like, once I've worked with you and I transform, what does that look like? Or even better, add a video of yourself kind of explaining what's happening here on the like within the text, because I'm one of those people that I would probably just click on the video and watch you tell me it rather than having to read through this. So that's a good way to kind of get those two different types of people, just by kind of summarizing the results within a video of yourself here. But that's fine if you don't want to put a video. If you do a picture, I would just make it a little bit more positive, especially if I'm already feeling overwhelmed or blocked or like I'm not good enough. If I see that, I'm like, oh, I failed, you know, like why? It just makes me kind of feel worse.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think this is a really, really great start. And I'm very curious, Erica, to see the results that you've gotten so far. So like I said, definitely share it in the quiz collective and we can look further into that.
Okay.
Claire, yeah, you can share your quiz if you would like. And we can go through yours. She says she hasn't added the pictures in yet. It's a work in progress, but done is better than perfect. And you are correct. All right, can you all see Claire's quiz? Did it work? Claire, can you see it? Okay, Erica, I see your nodding head. Perfect. Okay. All right. So which your One Life service is right for you? So Claire, for me, I don't know what your One Life services are. So I probably wouldn't, I mean, okay, I see here in the picture it has it, but I might have something here in the title that like calls out to your audience a little bit more to like get them into the quiz. Because this is making me do a little bit of work of like, well, what offerings do you have? Maybe I don't need any of them kind of thing. So I think maybe something more along the lines of like calling out healthy weight, or like maybe even like what's the best healthy weight solution for you, because then I know, okay, I'm looking to have a healthier weight, I should take this quiz so I can find out what my solution is. But then in the description here, so that you are advertising your business name, you could say something like, take this 1-minute quiz to find the best solution from One Life service or something like that. Okay, how old are you? I think this is fine. Do you need to know this information about this person right away? Okay, so you're responding in the chat. So they will have to come to my website first. The idea is it will sit underneath the different service options. So they'll already have the info. Okay, that makes sense. So if you're leaving this on your website and they already kind of like know about your brand, what you do, then they're taking this quiz to see what type of service they should get. So that makes sense. You might, if you're wanting to promote this on like social media or like get new people onto your website, you could create like duplicate this quiz in the builder and then have a different version of like what's the best healthy weight solution for you or something, and you could promote that outside of your website to bring people to your website. So that's an idea. And you said you do need to know how old they are. Okay, is that for Claire? I'm just curious, for the result that they're going to get, or is that for you to start working with them? Okay, so she's wanting to limit the amount of discovery calls that she's doing. So this information is you're getting this information for them so that you don't have to do it on the call. Makes sense. Okay, this is cool. Actually, this is I'm gonna click this. Oh, perfect. You use branching logic to do that. I love it. That's what I was gonna suggest. And so maybe what I would do here, Claire, because this automatically makes them exit the quiz, is I would just delete this and then have them click under 18 and then get that information that you put. All right. How much weight do you think you need to lose? What are stones? I don't know. How important, Claire, another thing I would just make sure, I feel like if people are coming to your website, they're gonna know what stones are. You're in the UK, makes sense. Would people from other places know, would they land on your site? Do you work with them? Do you want to work with them? Just consider that. And then maybe if you do the 2 different versions of your quiz, maybe on the website it stays as is, but on the other, like on your like marketing quiz or like getting people into your business, you could call it, kilograms or something. Yes, perfect. Okay, how important is losing weight to you right now? Okay, I think this is good. How much time and effort are you prepared to spend to resolve? So these seem really specific. I wonder if, again, just for like ease of getting people through the quiz, if you could combine some of these, like doing this work every day, to me is very similar or maybe the same as doing whatever it takes to get the right results. So maybe you could combine those 2. And then I'm prepared to do the work most days or most weeks. Like most days and some days, I think you could definitely combine. You could maybe even say like a couple of days a week, maybe like 1 to 2 times a week or something, so that you can get like all of these together. And then I'll do it whenever I can fit it in. That's good. I like that one. How difficult do you think it is to manage your weight? Cool. I'm just being a perfectionist here. You have a period here, but not on the other one. So maybe just clean that up, but also not a big deal. It's done. The quiz is done, right? How many diets have you done before? Okay, I think this is a really good question for your research and for maybe even segmentation. And I think you've got all the answers that somebody would say. How long have you had a problem with your weight? Would anybody taking the quiz not have had a previous problem with their weight? I guess maybe they would put the last year, like why else would they take the quiz actually? So maybe, all right, I like this one that you have for the last year. Or maybe you could even say like, instead of for the last year, you could say like only recently or something like that, because that goes to tell you like, this isn't like a long problem that they've had. But it's something that they're focused on right now, because that's probably, you would talk to that person differently than somebody who's had this problem for 5 to 10 years or as long as they can remember. Love this. Please select all that apply. Cool. I think on this question, you might want to put something that's like, I'm not sure, just to give them like sort of an out of, like if they really don't know what to put here. The branching logic will take them out here if they have. Okay, cool. I love that you use branching logic. And so we'll go into this in week 3 questions in segmentation for anybody who doesn't know what branching logic is. But it's basically a way to, like how I answered, I was less than 18 in that first question. The next thing that happened changed based on me selecting that answer. So that's branching logic. It's telling the system, like, send them this because they clicked that answer. Whereas if I clicked anything else, I go to question 2. Maybe again, Claire, maybe you put in, I'm not sure here. If they haven't, like, then you would know, like, they haven't looked into it. How well do you stick to your weight management by yourself without support? Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Do you have any specific habits relating to your eating that you want to overcome? Maybe here you have something like something like yes, something else or something, again, just so there's something for anybody, for everybody to put here. What helps you to lose weight? Claire, do all of these answers correlate to the result that I'm going to get? I ask you that because they do. Okay, so some of the questions have less answers. How many results do you have in total? Do you know? 6. Okay, so some questions, I haven't really been counting, but some questions have less answers and some have more. And so I would just be careful with that, because if you have 6 results and everything is correlating to a result, but some questions have only like 2, 3, 4 answers, then you could be skewing the result that they get if you're giving them more of a chance to choose something that's correlated to something more than something else, if that makes sense. So I would just be careful with the number of answers. It's always simplest to have one answer correlate to one result for each question. And there's different things that you can do to, like, play around with that for sure. So if we need to talk about this more, we can. But I would just be careful with, like, when someone takes this, is there more of an opportunity to get one result versus another, so that I get it, but it doesn't really feel like me is what I'm going after. So that would just be something to. It's a bit confusing, but the budget is the main deciding factor. Okay, so it's like more weighted or something. Okay, cool, yeah. So I would just maybe, like, as this quiz gets out there, or as you get feedback on it, ask people, does the result that you get really resonate with you? Does it feel like you got the right result? And if not, maybe we could go back into looking at, like, what do we need to do to get them to the right place? Because maybe the fact that there's more answers than others on different questions could be skewing it. What helps you to lose weight? This is nice because you'll know what type of value they're looking for, right? Like, should you start a membership? Do you need to do one-on-one, something like that? My services cover all budgets. So I would be careful saying this because I feel like I'm being sold to. I took this quiz. Well, also your quiz is a little different, where it's like, which service do you need? So I'm already sort of like warmed up to the idea that I'm going to be working with you. I just don't know which option to pick. So again, if you're going to use that other version of the quiz where you're sort of like marketing your business and getting people in that way, I would probably take this out, because this makes me feel like you're going to be selling something to me. And I'm in here to figure out, like, how to have a healthier weight solution. So I guess that would make more sense if you do the second version of the quiz. How much money are you prepared to spend in the first 3 months to start resolving your weight issues? So this one, I would just leave it as, like, I would turn off the multiple answers and then just remove this so that I only pick one and it takes me to the next question right away. Cool. So the reason I'm getting straight to the result page here, just for everybody watching, is Claire hasn't set up the opt-in form yet. So she hasn't turned on lead generation in the builder, which is totally fine. If you're sharing your quiz for feedback, that does not need to be set up yet. I just wanted to explain why we weren't prompted with that email. And it looks like your results indicate a period of intensive one-to-one coaching may be the most effective. This consists of find out more here. Cool. I think this is okay. I would like more value right here on this page, because you're asking me to do more work by clicking this and then seeing, like, reading through. I'm assuming it's going to go to a website. Yeah. maybe my internet's just being slow. It's not pulling up. There it is. So like, this is again, like a lot of reading for me to go through. But it looks really pretty, and I like the way that it's set up. Like, it's very obvious, like these are testimonials, and like there's options to click buttons, and I can sort of scroll through and get the gist of this page. What you might want to do, Claire, is you can automatically reroute the quiz takers to this page directly. I'd be curious, I guess, where else you use this page, like if it's just something that people scrolling on your website would find and click into, because I think, yeah, okay, it is. So maybe you duplicate this page, like you create a new page for it for quiz takers, and I would make it very obvious at the top, like your result is, and then you just use this page as the results page, as opposed to, all the Zoom things are in my way. Where did it go? As opposed to landing here and then having to click out over to the next page. So if you, we will talk about that next week, I believe, redirecting results. So I can show you how to do that if that's something that you're interested in, so that like they're just landing on one page, getting the information that they need, and rather than having to like send them to multiple places. But I think this is a really great start, Claire. I have another quiz where I have already done that. Okay, perfect. So you know how to do it. Cool. So yeah, just keep us posted on, I guess, what are your sort of next steps? I know you're still working on this, adding in some pictures and whatnot. When do you think you'll have this ready to share with your audience? Sorry, guys, I lost my chat. Where did it go? Where are you, Claire? It's actually live, but I just need to put the call to action button on the website. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, keep us posted on how it goes, what you see, what you find out. And also, I'd be very curious to hear if you do duplicate the quiz, so that you're like using it as sort of a marketing effort to generate new leads, people who don't know about you yet. I'd be curious to see like how you do that and how that works for you. So keep us posted. And thank you both, Erica and Claire, for sharing your quizzes, because I always love to do these live, because even if like other people who are watching, if your business, your industry, your quiz has nothing to do with the topics that we just went over, I think there's always something that you'll hear by critiquing other quizzes on, like, oh, I could do that for mine, or oh, this, I could use this in the same way. So thank you both for sharing that. I appreciate. We are almost done, y'all. I just want to share my slides one more time to give you your action steps for next week. So just as a recap of kind of like what we covered today, I think the first thing that you all definitely want to do is sort of benchmark where you're at today and get really clear on what your business goal is. So you can set a SMART goal, something that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and what's the time frame on that that you're wanting to strive for. So again, when you launch your quiz or as you evolve your quiz, you're making sure that it's doing the things that you want it to do, as opposed to just creating this lovely quiz that doesn't have a necessarily like a direct point or purpose to it. And then this came from our CEO, Josh, and I wanted to share regarding getting clear on your goals. So Harvard did a study that showed 10% of graduates that stated their goals, so simply just wrote them down, ended up outperforming the other 90% combined. So that just means those who wrote down their goals delivered 10 times the results than those who did not. So I want you all to get really clear on what your goal is, write it down, and we can come back to it once the quiz is launched, or even after you've promoted it a bit, to see like, is the quiz doing what it is that you want it to do? So then you want to decide where you want to use the quiz in your existing funnel. So really think about your goal, have the end in mind. How does the quiz help you achieve that? And then check out the optimized templates in the builder. So even if you already have a quiz started, or if you have a quiz created, you can use those for reference. You could even use the results pages, like copy in the actual results page and then just change out into your own quiz, and then change out the content so that it fits what it is that you're trying to do, or fits your style, your voice, your brand, all that. And then, like I said, I will send you the link for Chanti's quiz on quizzes so that you all can take that and give yourself a little bit of that quiz taker experience. So you're really putting yourself in the shoes of your customers, and also getting a little information on how can you use a quiz for your business, because that's exactly what she's going to tell you in the results. Okay, so action steps. So your homework for next week is to do a little ideal customer avatar research. And you can do this by hanging out in Facebook groups that your people are in, maybe Reddit threads where they're posting, or checking out even followers of influencers that are in your space, or maybe even some of your competitors, and really start surveying your existing list. So I mentioned Dawn already, she's the copywriting support expert. She created a spreadsheet that will help you organize your customers' questions, pain points, struggles, desires. So I'll link that in the replay email that I sent out. And you can use that to really help you figure out what it is that your customers want so that you can give it to them in the quiz. If you have any research on like voice of customers, so the way the way your customers speak, or the way they ask questions or say things, you can record that as well, because using their language in the quiz is really going to speak to them even more directly. And then the other homework is to introduce yourself in the quiz collective. And I already said this in the beginning. By doing that, you're going to tell other people about what it is that you do, so that you all can kind of find each other to get maybe industry specific feedback, or you can chat about things that happen within your industries or within your niches, to like sort of like collaborate on those things. And then I just want to show you, once you're in the quiz collective, so once you've signed up, again, the link is in the chat, but I will also email it out in the replay. This is what the quiz collective looks like. So when you join, you'll see there's a say hello channel. This is where you can introduce yourself. And then this is week 1 of quiz coaching, your big quiz idea. So anybody who's like maybe struggling on the quiz idea that you have or that you want to do, if you want to share your goal with using a quiz, if you have questions, especially if you're catching the replay and you have questions that you want to ask, drop them all right in here, your big quiz idea. I will be watching for them, and we can stay in touch there. And then next steps is, after you've completed the homework, start thinking about the little wins that you can provide people with. Maybe gather together some resources that you already have created, those podcasts, those blog posts that you would specifically want to send to your people. And then start thinking about the personalities of your existing audience. So could you come up with 3 or 4 different types of people or characteristics that you can use to start creating, or like setting the foundation of, these are the results or like categories of people that I'm going to create when you go to make your quiz. Because next week we are going to take all of that and turn it into your quiz topic. We'll talk about topic, your title, and the quiz results. So before we go, anybody have any other questions for today? Feeling good? Cool. If anything comes up as you're, like I said, as you're doing the homework, or I don't know, maybe you're thinking of something else, drop a note in the quiz collective and we can stay in touch there. Awesome. Claire said it was really helpful. I am so glad, because that is why I'm here for you. Awesome. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. And like I said, if you need anything, I'll be in the quiz collective.